Jesus told his disciples a parable about the need to pray continually and never lose heart. There was a judge in a certain town, he said, who had neither fear of God nor respect for man. In the same town, there was a widow who kept on coming to him and saying, "I want justice from you against my enemy." For a long time, he refused. But at last, he said to himself, "Maybe I have neither the fear of God nor respect for man. But since she keeps pestering me, I must give this widow her just rights, or she will persist in coming and worry me to death." And the Lord said, "You notice what the unjust judge had to say? Now, will not God see justice done to his chosen who cry to him day and night, even when he delays to help him? I promise you, he will see justice done to them, and done speedily. But when the Son of Man comes, will he find any faith on earth?" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise be to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Lead questions for today. Question 1. What is the dominant theme of today's readings? Question 2. Joshua led the Israelite army to victory against the Amalekites. By confirmation, we too are soldiers of Christ. Now, what war are we fighting today? Person no they be soldier for nothing. What war are we fighting? B. Who is the commander of our army? C. Who are our adversaries? What war are we fighting? Who is the commander of our army? And who are our adversaries? Question 3. In the gospel story, Jesus appears to be comparing God to the unjust and uncaring judge. In the gospel story, Jesus appears to be comparing God to the unjust and uncaring judge who responded to the poor widow only when he was being pestered to death. What is the point of the story? You get 3 questions? Yes, there's a hand behind. Gregory.
I will attempt question 1. The dominant theme today is persistence.
Persistence.
Yes.
Give him a round of applause. Persistence in prayer, persistence in doing good, persistence in keeping faith to the end, so that when Jesus comes, he will find faith. Yes, any other person?
We are fighting the powers.
Wait. Tell, if you are answering a question, tell us.
Question 2.
Question 2, yes. Is that Osuji?
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's the chief of Paduma. A round of applause to welcome our Paduma chief here. Yes.
Yes. Under the sun, man is in trouble. And the war we are fighting today are against the powers of darkness unseen. The principalities are the high places
and low places.
And low places. Those are the high mountains.
Winch.
Those are the valleys. And those inside the sea. And the ones that fly at the night are those which we are fighting today.
Like winch, Abi?
Yes, sir.
But you know, talk the one where they inside also.
Yes.
Are we not fighting some battles inside us?
Yeah.
Eh? Some of the battle we are fighting is with our very selves. We must add that one. Okay, next. Oh, give him a round of applause. Yes, Franca.
I'm attempting question 2.
Yes.
We are soldiers, and the war we are fighting today is sin, injustice,
There's sin in the head of state, in the president
sin
of the...
in ourselves, sin, injustice in the society, injustice in high places everywhere. And the commander of our army is Jesus. Our adversaries are even in ourselves. When we don't do the right thing, we are adversaries to the commandments of God. The adversaries are the perpetrators of this sin, of the injustice in the society, of those who make the poor poorer.
A round of applause for her. I just wanted to make sure that when we are identifying the evils in the world, we recognize that the evils begin where? In our very hearts. So let's make sure each time we list the evils, like Osuji talked about principalities under the sun and on the mountains, and they fly at night. But if you list those ones, you don't involve yourself, you don't include yourself. Isn't it? I know they fly for night, so I know be winch, so I'm okay. That's what we do often. But actually, the greatest evil we have to conquer is which one? The one inside us. If we recognize that, it will be easier after conquering the evil inside us to deal with the evil outside. Yes. Yes, Mike.
Wish to attempt question 3.
Okay.
We ought always to pray and not to faint. So what the point is actually trying to tell us is that if we persevere in prayer, in whatever we are asking of God, that we shall get it at the end.
If we persevere in prayer, whatever we are asking of God, we shall get it at the end. Round of applause for him. One more and we go. Yes.
I'm attempting question 2. That question that says, what war are we fighting today? We are fighting against our flesh, which is constantly opposing us against the things of God, that will not allow us to obey the things of God. Like lying, that we think is not a sin, is sin, fornication, and so many things. The flesh is fighting against the things of God, and so we need to fight it.
A round of applause for her. One of the adversaries is the flesh. We are fighting against the preponderance of the flesh and the desires of the flesh, which St. Paul talks about very clearly in Galatians chapter 5 from verse 16 to 20. The fruit of self-indulgence. And he lists them there as against the fruits of the Spirit that he also lists in verse 22 and 23. Yes, finally we give him and then we go.
Father, I'm answering question number 2.
Yes.
I think I concur with the A and C. But in the B, I think we are the commander of our army.
You, who are you?
We personally. I think that is why we've not made progress in these wars, because we tend to sit back and wait for Jesus Christ to command the army. We are the ones dealing with these vices on a daily basis. So we must take responsibility for our army and fight this.
Who am I to be commander of the army? I beg. I cannot be commander of the army. Jesus is the commander of my army. I'm only a foot soldier. Now recruit I be for Jesus' army. Who else is commander of the Jesus' army here? I beg. Jesus is the commander of our army. And we are foot soldiers, right? But foot soldiers, I know what you're saying. Foot soldiers have responsibility, don't they? Foot soldiers have responsibility. We are not dodging responsibility when we say we are foot soldiers. The truth is that you can't command the army of God. You can't. Who are you? Do you agree with me? You can't command the army of God. Jesus is the C of the army of God. We are only foot soldiers that are following it. If only we follow his order, like the captain in the war who gives order, and if the people follow, they are likely to do the right thing and win the war. But if the people, the men of the force don't follow the commander, then they will be disarray and they will fail. The reason why we are failing is that we're not following the instruction of... Do you agree with me? Good. So go and change your orientation. You not be commander. You be foot soldier. If you want to be commander, join the Nigerian army. But if you want for the Jesus' army, thank you very much. Give him a round of applause. Anyway. Oh, Father Richard, are you a commander? No, you can't handle it for five seconds.